Yo, what's going on, basketball fans? Rick Kamla, FSWA Hall of Famer, Steve Alexander, a.k.a. Dr. A. We are the OGs, and this is Fantasy NBA Today, Ethos After Dark. They just went final in New Orleans, Brooklyn with the victory. Derrick Jones Jr. with, frankly, one of the best dunks I've seen all year. Out of the corner of my eye, he flashed. He's up to 20 points here. The Clippers are hanging with Oklahoma City right now, down 5 minutes to go, and looks like either a timeout. Yeah, OKC just called timeout. So we'll take you through that final minute of that game. We're going to break down Monday's slate. We're going to look ahead to Tuesday. We invite your questions. We'll provide some answers later on in the show. And before we bring in Dr. A and we chop up the Magic Man, not literally, and we'll talk about tonight in the NBA. I want to tell you about our sponsor, Bet Online. Did you know they're the world's most trusted betting platform, your number one source for online betting? From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, Bet Online provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. And with the largest selection of odds on everything from football to NBA, college basketball, NHL, UFC, MMA, they got it all for you, okay? They really take you 360 through the sports world. Head to Bet Online today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. Bet Online, the game starts here. Doc, actually, we're going to get to the Magic Man of the Night in a moment. We got some news here, and we say bye-bye to Chet Holmgren for a little while, and it sucks. Chet Holmgren, in yesterday's loss to Golden State, suffered an injury. Went up to block a shot, landed hard. Oh, no. 99 times out of 100, a guy gets up. He's in pain. We move on with our lives. Well, the one just happened. Chet Holmgren, according to the team, has a pelvic fracture. I'm not making this up. I wish him well. He has a right iliac wing fracture, said the update. He's out 8 to 10 weeks, okay? And what they're saying is his status will be provided in 8 to 10 weeks, which means he might miss 8 to 10 weeks beyond that, okay? According to this ESPN report, the team said Holmgren is expected to return this season. But Dr. A, this is a massive buzzkill, and this is going to be a prolonged absence from a man named Chet.
Yeah, I mean, you said a little while. It's not. It's a long time. And, I mean, we're talking all-star break. Probably it's like best case, maybe. That means no Thanksgiving, no Christmas, no MLK Day. This is bad. And if you got Chet Holmgren, it's going to be a long time before we see him again. And there's not really a built-in guy that's just going to step in and replace him. It's going to be a committee, and it's probably going to be a committee of guys a lot smaller than Chet Holmgren.
It is. Doc, first of all, I want to talk about Chet Holmgren. Coming out of Gonzaga, we had these a lot of us had these hang-ups with Chet, right? Like, fantastic prospect, and he's long, and he's skilled. And I worried about, the lack of weight and the skinny shoulders and then the frail body and all this kind of stuff. And, then he's just suffered a freak injury, backpedaling on defense against LeBron James in a pro-am and blows the tire. Okay, gone for his rookie year. All right, is that because of his body type? Doc, I got to be honest. This to me, and I wish Chet well, I'm not mad at him. I'm just an analyst here. This to me speaks to his body frame because, look, it was a hard fall. We see guys land harder than this, and they're fine, okay? Chet Holmgren landed hard. He landed awkwardly, hit his body, just right in just the right spot to get this injury. But if he, and it is what it is, okay? Like, Chet's not going to go ahead and put on 20 pounds and be a different body type. Like, he is who he is, okay? But this is the pitfall of that, because if you've got more, body mass, more muscle tone, your body is going to be able to absorb a fall like this better. And so this is literally what we were worrying about in the pre-draft process, the frail body. I didn't know, you think about like man-to-man contact and that kind of thing. You don't think about a dude trying to block a shot up in the air, landing hard, and suffering a freaking pelvic fracture, okay? But, Doc, this takes me back to the pre-draft process and the concerns that I had about Chet's body, because if he was built like Orlando Woolridge, I was going to say Zion Williamson, but Zion would have gotten hurt like this, too. He gets hurt when the wind freaking blows, okay? But this is concerning about Chet in the long haul, dude.
Not so much for me. I mean, how many pelvic fractures have we seen ever? Like, almost none. And you know what they say, Rick, the bigger the tree, the harder the fall. And Holmgren is a big friggin' tree. And he's also a skinny tree. And he came down like the way all of the impact and mass and momentum, it all went to one spot. And you're right. There's not a lot of body mass and a lot of Zion baby fat protecting that area of his body. To me, it was more of just a freak accident. I mean, Jokic, if he falls like that, I doubt he breaks his pelvic bone.
That's what I'm saying.
And I'm with you on that. But I think the chances of that happening again don't seem that likely to me. Now, maybe by the time next year's draft gets here, I'll change my tune and be like, yeah, Chet's too skinny. I don't want to deal with it. But, Wemby's been pretty great being a skinny guy. Chet was amazing last year. Hell, Chet was an MVP candidate this year. He player of the week, player of the month. Like, he was balling. So it's just sad, really. The whole thing just makes me sad.
It's a buzzkill, dude. Again, I'm not mad at Chet. We wish him well. So it is Fantasy NBA today, Ethos After Dark, although not as late as usual. We're on at 10:30 Eastern time tonight. The games have all gone final. OKC, it is my guy, Dennis Scott, a.k.a. 3D, interviewing Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jalen Williams right now, surrounded by their teammates, as Oklahoma City does. And they got a nip and tuck victory tonight against the LA Clippers. All 5 games. Hold on. Is that game still going on? No. Houston ended up running away and hiding from Houston. Houston ran away and hid from Washington, winning that game by 15. We'll get to that one in a minute. All right, Doc, let's move on here. I just a quick joke before we move on. What does Alex Caruso have to do to get into the starting lineup? Hartenstein goes down, still comes off the bench. Holmgren goes down, still comes off the bench. Aaron Wiggins got the start tonight, and he had a stat line. He had a waiver wire streamer stat line, not anything like Brandon Boston's been doing in New Orleans, where it's like, damn, dude, that's a great stat line. Or Keyshawn George in Washington, who I've been picking up all over the place. Doc, let's get to some great news here. Ausar Thompson of the Detroit Pistons, your guy, my guy, has been cleared to play by the NBA's fitness panel. This is huge news because it is not a foregone conclusion that you're going to be able to play again if you've got blood clots. Talk to Chris Bosh. God bless him. All right. But Ausar Thompson's been cleared to play. And he's been sidelined since March, blood clotting issue. He will now begin the ramp up, participating in full contact practices for the first time in 8 months and preparing to make a season debut in the near future. So it's not going to happen next game, but within a week or two, we're going to get Ausar back. So, Doc, I'm just excited. Like we'll talk fantasy in a minute. And it's not even reality NBA. It's reality as in we're humans and we're flesh and blood. And when we're cut, we bleed and all that stuff. Okay. Like blood clots is extremely concerning. So I'm very excited that Ausar Thompson has a new lease on his NBA life.
Yeah, it's exciting, man. I don't know if he's going to be good in fantasy or not. I don't really care. I'm just glad he's back because for a while, we didn't really know if or when we were going to see him again. So it's great news for one of the Thompson twins. And, he's a great player. So he could be really sneaky the second half of the season.
Could be. Here's a stat for you, an Osar stat. ESPN put this out. One of 3 rookies last year with 50 steals and 50 blocks. Victor and Chet were the only other 2. Okay, so he's got that Cam-esque, fantasy gold-esque ability, just like his brother. I mean, they're not 3-point shooters, but they're big with the blocks and the steals, and they're just hustle guys and all this. Okay, so a couple of questions for you, Doc, to tee you up on this as Osar comes back. When he comes back, it is going to create ripple effects in the rotation because Osar is going to play. All right. So Tim Hardaway Jr. has been starting, and I kind of think that's going to continue because, he brings a skill set that Osar doesn't. And obviously that skill set is desired by JB Bickerstaff putting. So I think Hardaway is still going to give you the 13 points and the 3 threes per game. All right. So the question then is, Doc, and tell me if you agree or disagree on that. But then we go to the bench. And to me, Malik Beasley, your boy Simone Fontecchio, or rookie Ron Holland. One of those guys, I believe, is going to be booted out of the rotation because Marcus Sasser, a player that we all like, is completely out of the rotation right now with JB Bickerstaff going with some vets here. So take it from there, brother.
I would say Holland is probably on his way out. I think the return of Alcer may impact Tobias Harris a little bit. It's going to impact Tim Hardaway a little bit. Hardaway has been providing enough threes and offense. And I think you're right. I think he sticks. Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham. Between Cade and Ivey and Hardaway, they have enough offense. They need defense. And that's what Alcer does. Alcer and Jalen Duren play defense. So look, this team's probably not going to make the playoffs. They're probably not going anywhere. Alcer, if he's healthy enough, should get minutes. I mean, I think we were all frustrated at how little he played last year. So hopefully they let him run this year and let him get out there and go. But I don't think we're going to see any drastic shots lost by the guys who are already doing their thing for Detroit.
I agree. I agree with all that. He is Dr. A. He's an FSW Hall of Famer. Dr. A, you can see him on other platforms as well, but he's rocking here on Sports Ethos Fantasy Basketball, Fantasy NBA today. I am Rick Kamla. And again, tell us your questions, okay? We will accumulate them. We will answer them time permitting at the end of the show. And most likely, time will be permitting.
Did you see Damian Lillard is out tomorrow? He's in the concussion protocol, will not play tomorrow. And then the other concerning thing for me is Trae Young and his Achilles tendonitis already ruled out for tomorrow today. Those are both kind of like, dang.
Yeah, not good, man. We will we'll look ahead later on in the show. We'll look ahead to Tuesday's slate. It's going to be a lot more voluminous than tonight's 5-game slate, but we had some good ball games tonight, some real good ball games. We'll get to them in a second. Doc, Malik Monk went down again, okay? I was watching the other night when, who were they playing? Dang, the Suns. He stepped on Mason Plumlee's foot. But, I think the angle I saw, and I'm watching a lot of games, it looked like maybe a knee, and he had a knee injury that ended his season last year. So I was like, oh, no. So to me, it's actually good news that they're calling it a moderate right ankle sprain. All right, what is that? Out at least 2 weeks. Okay, maybe, so maybe it's a month but we're going to get Malik Monk back. It's not a re-injury of the same knee. It's not the other knee. It's not a new knee injury to the same knee that he hurt last year. So to me, that's all good news. But for Sacramento, and we'll talk more about this game and the Spurs side of it. Spurs throttled Sacramento tonight. And Sacramento last night got a really fun victory over. They won that game, right, Doc? So many games. They're all bleeding together right now. Did Sac beat Phoenix last night, or did Phoenix beat? Why am I blanking on this right now? Good game, though. I can't remember who the hell won the game. We're fantasy guys over here. But, Doc, where are you pivoting fantasy-wise if Malik Monk is going to miss a month, at least 2 weeks out? Where are you pivoting here?
Well, he's been, to put it bluntly, pretty disappointing so far this season. And so tonight, with Malik Monk out, as any good fantasy guy knows, Kevin Huerter is going to go off. No, not so fast. 1 of 7, 2 points. Just a disaster. Keegan Murray, 2 of 7, 5 points. And they got throttled by the Spurs, mainly by Wemby, like you said. And the thing is, Wemby, you think of Wemby being this great big shot blocker. Half of his block shots come out at the 3-point line. He doesn't discriminate. I'm sure he was bothering Kevin Huerter. I'm sure he's bothering Keegan Murray. I'm sure he's bothering everyone. So I had Kevin Huerter all fired up tonight. Total disaster. But I think Trey Lyles, for some reason, is getting tons of minutes with that team. I just think it means more minutes for Kevin Huerter. And I doubt much changes. If anything else, it makes the coaching staff's life a little easier because they can just let DeMar DeRozan and Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox and Kevin Huerter and Keegan Murray stay out there all day and do their thing.
That's Dr. Ram, Cam. It's Fantasy NBA today. Kevin Huerter was awful tonight, but don't trip, okay? Second of a back-to-back. Sacramento won last night in Phoenix, 127-118. And so second of a back-to-back on the road, coming off of 53 minutes of basketball, and they got throttled tonight in San Antonio. We know, Doc knows, most of you guys know, San Antonio's very, very feisty at home. You get them on the road, they're still young, they don't know how to win yet and all that kind of stuff, but at home, they're feisty and they're confident, okay? And so they roughed up Sacramento tonight. I would call it a schedule loss for the Kings, but it is what it is. There are no asterisks that say standings loss in the actual standings. Keon Ellis is going to get a boost from this. It did not happen tonight. He had an awful stat line. Don't even look. 3 points, 1 and 1, whatever it was. It was like, dude, did you even play tonight? Same thing with Kevin Huerter. But these two guys are going to be the beneficiaries of this Malik Monk injury. I think Keegan Murray may eventually reap some of the benefits. And tonight you had the main three Kings, Fox, DeRozan, and Sabonis all go 20 plus. All right, Doc, let's get into the Magic Man of the night here as we recap a 5-game Monday in the NBA, and all the games are final right now. You go first. Who's your Magic Man of the night?
Back to Keon Ellis. I was going to say Keon Ellis, but literally I didn't scroll down far enough and see his name because I had Keon Ellis and Kevin Huerter loaded up in a lot of places tonight. They were both terrible. Anyway, my Magic Man, now I gotta switch gears here. Norman Powell, man.
Are you serious? You're going Norm Powell?
I can't quit him. He's my guy. Dude, I decided a week before the season that Norman Powell was going to be my guy. And that Norman Powell was bound for success because no Kawhi, Paul George is in Philly, and James Harden is getting old. Dude, Norman Powell hit 10 of 15 shots, 5 triples, 4 assists, 3 steals, 31 points. They hung with Oklahoma City. Norman Powell is the kind of guy you draft and he wins you a 30-team league. That is what he's doing this year. He is played out of his mind. He fouled out of this game, or the numbers would have been even more ridiculous.
Norman Powell has always been a good scorer. We know this. He averaged 16 on the championship Toronto team. He's been a 6th man of the year candidate before. He's averaged 19 a game before. Putting the ball in the hole, okay, we get it. That's why I was high on him. That's why Doc was high on him. I didn't see 25 a game. I didn't see 27 a game, whatever his scoring average is right now. I did not see that. I saw 20 and a half. Okay, I'll be honest with you. He's never, ever, ever been at 20 PPG for his career. All right. So I figured even with no Kawhi and all this kind of stuff, yeah, he'll spike to about 20, career high season, big year from Norm coming. He has way exceeded my expectations, Doc. He is coming into tonight 4.1 threes. Ridiculous number, okay? That's Dame, Steph, Clay. I mean, he's living with those guys right now. And then 1.1 steals. Norman Powell has never been a goody guy. He doesn't give you boards. He doesn't give you dimes. He doesn't give you steals. He just puts the ball in the hole. Tim Hardaway style, right? He's a scorer, a gunner, was a streamer or a distant bench guy on your team. And you play him on Tuesdays and Thursdays on light nights. Norm has become one of the stalwarts of fantasy basketball, and it's a cool story. And if you were with us in the preseason, you've got Norman Powell on every one of your teams because we told you all about him. Doc, I'm going to go with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander because this stat line is so freaking sexy. 45 points, 9 assists, 5 steals, 2 blocks, 3 rebounds, 4 threes. What a game from SGA. Send this game to the Hall of Fame. And I've got SGA in 30 deep. I took one on the chin last week because of the Levine injury. And thank God he's back. And so I'm stoked. That is in a 30-team league, when you get a line like that, that is 2 lines for the price of 1. Think about that. 45 points. 5 steals. That's double what he does. 9 assists. That's way more than he does. 4 threes. So, and OKC got the victory tonight. They just lost Chet Holmgren. They're still without Hartenstein. Shout out to the Clippers, man. They fight hard. You got to beat the Clippers. They're not going to beat themselves. They're not going to quit and let go of the rope. You got to beat them, okay? And so good on OKC for winning that game, and good on SGA for having just a magnificent stat line. All right, Doc, let's get into some more of these Monday games. And let's talk about these Cavaliers. Dr. A, the Cleveland Cavaliers beat the Bulls tonight in Chicago and come from behind fashion. It was very thrilling. It wasn't dramatic. It was kind of dramatic. It was thrilling. Dramatic is probably strong. But anyway, they came back and they won the game. The Cleveland TV crew had some cool stats. They're the 8th team, okay, all time to start 12-0 or better. Only 8 teams have started this well in the history of the NBA. All right, so we're getting into some rarefied air. And I looked at the graphic that they showed. Golden State that year when Luke Walton then passed the baton to Steve Kerr when they won 73 games. They started 24-0. Okay, so that's the record, 24-0. Houston, I think it was 03-04 or something like that. That's T-Mac, that's Van Gundy, that's Yao Ming, all those guys. 15-0. Okay, that's the second longest winning streak to begin a season is 15-0. And so Cleveland is 3 wins away from tying the second longest winning streak to start a season. Just wanted to give you those stats because there's some cool reality, nerdy stuff for us. Because what they're doing is it's significant. It's historic. This is not like, oh yeah, the Cavs are off to a hot start. No, 8 teams have done this in the history of our game. And Doc, I want to go like, I don't know. I want to go non-chalky here. I've watched a lot of Cavaliers basketball this year, Doc. Y'all have to watch this team. They haven't lost yet. It's history that they're making, okay? Plug into the Cavaliers. Ty Jerome, Doc. You got Mitchell killing it. You got Garland killing it. You got Mobley killing it. You got Allen killing it. Okay, we get it. Ty Jerome is a massive difference maker for this team. He was in the closing lineup tonight. He makes all these defensive plays. Played like 21 minutes tonight. He had 12 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, 2 threes. That's like a Ty Jerome stat line, y'all. And I loved him in Virginia when he helped them win a championship with Coach Bennett, okay? He was a badass in college. Last year, he played 15 minutes all year because of injury. And, Doc, he is a 6th Man of the Year candidate, and I don't care about the stats. Watching the Cleveland Cavaliers, knowing the difference he is making on both ends of the court, he's been one of the best bench players in the NBA this year, and he is on the fantasy radar in deeper leagues. If you're in a 10-team league, you're not messing with Ty Jerome. If you're in a 12-team league, you're streaming him. 14 and beyond, you're probably rostering him, but he's been a hell of a story this year.
He has been. And you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers rotation, right? It's like 10 guys. It's not this 15 Golden State Warriors out there all running around, watching Steph shoot threes. These are 10 guys that all get meaningful minutes and make meaningful contributions for the most part. So streaming Karis LeVert, streaming Ty Jerome for this week is a good thing. And Brewski and I covered this on Friday. Cleveland has the best schedule this week. They play 4 games. They don't have any back-to-backs. They play on off nights. Ty Jerome and Karis LeVert, you had 12, 2, 3, and 1, couple threes, 24 minutes. Both of those guys you should be looking at. I think they play Thursday. I think it's like Dallas and Cleveland. Maybe, I don't know if that's right. But now Cleveland plays on a couple down days. And Ty Jerome is a great guy to stream right now.
Yes, he is, man. So let's move on here, Doc. Houston beats Washington tonight. Ooh, I'm going to do a little dance here. Houston, my Rockets, 7-4, baby. Here they come. 7-4, baby. Stop sleeping on my Rockets. So, Doc, Fred VanVleet missed this game, and Amen Thompson entered the starting lineup. 4 blocks, 4 steals. Thank you, Amen. You're making our point for us here. That's what I'm talking about. He had 13 points and 8 rebounds as well. He is a fantasy gold stud. And I want to read you what Ime Udoka said. Ime Udoka said that Amen will likely start when any of their starters miss a game. Dylan Brooks is out. He's in. Şengün is out. He's in. So that tells you how much Ime Udoka loves him, okay? That is probably going to be good news for Amen moving forward. I think the VanVleet thing here, Doc, might be a rest game because it's Washington, all right? And he played on Sunday, logged 37 minutes. So I'm not worried about VanVleet yet. If he misses his next game with, it says left hamstring soreness, then I'm concerned. But I don't think he's going to miss his next game. We told you last week about Anthony Davis. He missed a game. I said, this feels like a rest game. Boom, it was a rest game. And now he's got the eye thing going on that we don't know about. But that's how I'm feeling with this right here. And Doc, as I get it over to you, I look at the Wizards box score, and I look at our boy, Bub Carrington, 10, 2, and 6, 4 steals, 2 blocks, 2 threes. If Bub Carrington's on your waiver wire, something's wrong with you people.
Yeah. Let's go back to Houston for a second. Tari Eason, 26 minutes off the bench, 3 steals, 2 blocks, 6 boards, 2 assists, 10 points, 26 minutes. Like, I can't really decide if I'd rather have Amen Thompson or Tari Eason at this point. They've both been really pretty fun this year. And shout out to our guy, Alpi Şengün, Sports Ethos After Dark favorite, 27 points, 17 rebounds, 3 blocks, 3. That was amazing. Washington, I'm super intrigued by Keyshawn George. I love Bub Carrington. Pick him up everywhere. Koulibaly, been pretty solid. And then Jordan Poole had the most Jordan Poole game of the year. 5 of 14 shooting, 11 points, 5 boards, 6 assists, 4 steals. This guy leads the league in steals, I think. 8 turnovers. He gave it all. He left it all on the floor.
Hey, Doc.
Some gave all. Jordan Poole was one of them.
Doc, unfortunately, it's time to send our guy Keyshawn George back to the waiver wire. 8 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists in 25 minutes because Kyle Kuzma came back to work tonight. Guys, don't trip. It's okay. Send them back to waivers. We told you, when guys were coming, send Trey when they had Miles Bridges and Brandon Miller and LaMelo, send Trey Mann back to waivers, okay? And then boom, Miles Bridges got hurt. Go back to waivers and pick up Trey Mann. There's some of these guys Brandon Boston, okay, when all the dudes get healthy in New Orleans, you're going to send Brandon Boston back to the waiver wire. I say all the time, don't fall in love with your players, okay? If you want to fall in love with Luka and Jokic and Wemby, you're not dropping those guys. Fall head over heels in love, okay? Do not fall in love with waiver wire guys, unless, of course, his name is Bub Carrington, and then knock yourselves out with the love fest.
I will say,
yeah, what's up, Doc?
You sold me and a lot of these people on Brandon Boston, and he delivered. Like those of us that picked him up a week ago and have had him in our lineup love Brandon Boston. So he might be tough. That might be some separation anxiety when we let him go. But I think it's good advice. Like, don't become too attached to a guy you picked up off waivers who got hot because his teammates were hurt.
I tried to package a 2-for-1 in the Cam Dynasty for Scottie Pippen Jr. I packaged Goga Bitadze and Brandon Boston, and I tried to load up and go get Scottie Pippen Jr., capitalizing on waiver wire guys who are hot and popping right now, right? And the guy texted me back, and he's like, I'm not sure about the staying power of Brandon Boston. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, he should not have accepted that trade. I wanted him to, but that's good GMing by the other guy because I was coming to fleece him. And he was like, yeah, Brandon Boston, and so he's right. Because when CJ McCollum comes back and or Herb Jones comes back, okay, or even if Zion decides to play a little bit of basketball, Brandon Boston's going to go boop, and he's going to go back to the waiver wire, and that's okay. But tonight, as we get into the Nets' victory over the Pelicans, Brandon Boston shot the ball like garbage, 3 of 13, okay, but he did hit a 3, 7 points, 7 rebounds, 10 assists, 3 steals. In an otherwise lousy game, I'll take it. Yves Missi was really good tonight with 17 and 11. Trey Murphy, Doc, was this his first game back?
Yes.
Season debut. It was his first game. And Trey Murphy started tonight, played 26 minutes. He's on a 30-minute cap right now. It was good. 12 points, 2 blocks, 5 rebounds, 2 threes. And Doc, I don't know, man. I kind of worry a little bit now that Trey Murphy is back for a Brandon Boston and a Jose Alvarado. And Jose Alvarado, can you help me understand how and why he only got 18 minutes tonight in a game where he had 2 fouls, in a game that was down to the final possession? What the hell happened to Jose Alvarado tonight, dude?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. And they needed somebody to try to slow down Cam Thomas, late in the game. And Ben Simmons kind of played well all night. So I don't know why Alvarado was on the bench for so much of this game. I'm sure there's probably an answer, but I didn't catch it. It's kind of tough to watch 5 games at one time.
Yeah, and I had that game up. I was kind of bouncing around. I had a multi-view up on YouTube TV. By the way, YouTube TV, I freaking love you. I sing your praises all the time. You go to let's see, they got home. You go to home. They have library and live. Go to home, and it's you'll see it on there. And just stay on home. Go down, and it'll have all these options. It'll have the game options, and it has all of these different multi-views. Not like a 10 or 11 or 12 game night. The multi-views are different. So you can be like, yo, I got to watch these 2 games, and you find a multi-view that has those 2 games, then 2 other sexy games. It is so awesome. You don't need 4 TVs on one wall. You just need 1 TV, and you go to multi-view, and you're very, very happy about your life as a basketball fan. So, Doc, I love everything you said right there. We don't, I literally, it's just befuddling to me. Jose Alvarado, 3 points, 1 3, 1 steal, 18 minutes, 1 of 5. It just doesn't make any sense. Jalen Noel, who they just recently got off the waiver wire, had 11 and 6, playing a little point guard. But Willie Green, please stop doing this. Okay, Jose Alvarado. And I hope we don't find out, Jose Alvarado's undergoing x-rays for a wrist thing or whatever it was. But that was extremely weird. Don't drop Jose Alvarado. Do not. Okay.
Also, Oh,
Go ahead. Do you agree not to drop Jose Alvarado? Because his stat lines have been rocking up until tonight.
Yeah, I mean, there's still CJ McCollum is out. Zion is out. There's enough guys out that Alvarado's going to play.
Herb, DeJounte, 4 main dudes.
This just looks like a fluke to me. And hopefully that's what it is. We have the magic man of the night. That's the head scratcher of the night. And then back to Brandon Boston. Don't just automatically cut him because we told you that he's going to go away. The kid played 35 minutes, was in there at the end of the game, had 7 boards, 10 dimes, 3 steals. He just couldn't make a shot. 3 of 13 from the floor. But Brandon Boston tied for the lead with this in minutes for this team tonight. So it's not over yet.
Andre Lemouche, our outstanding producer, is telling me Jose Alvarado appeared to tweak something and checked himself out of the game. I believe he says he then returned to the game, but maybe he came back, tried to give it a go, and something went wrong. I don't know, but keep your eye on this Jose Alvarado thing. Do not drop him. Again, don't drop him, not just yet. All right, Doc.
What's up? We have a real life Shams managing this show.
I know.
Shams is out here breaking news.
I love it. Andre Shams Lemouche. That's hilarious, man. All right, so OKC beat the LA Clippers. We already talked a little bit about SGA. We talked about Norm Powell. Norm Powell was Doc's Magic Man of the night. Mine was SGA. Zubac's terrific line, 22 and 14 with 3 blocks. Love it. James Harden, 17, 11, and 9. He was absolutely fantastic. The Clippers fell to 6 and 5. The Thunder went to 9 and 2. They now, once again, have sole possession of first place in the West because at 8 and 2 is Golden State, and at 8 and 2 is why am I blanking on the team? There's another 8 and 2 team, Phoenix, in the Western Conference right now. But Doc, as we talk about the Clippers side of things, that's all I got to say, man. We talked about OKC a little bit with who's going to take up for the Chet Holmgren injury. Anything stand out from that LAC side of the box score?
Dude, all I can really say is I have James Harden, Derek Jones, Norm Powell, and Coffee all in my 30 deep lineup.
Wow.
They all went off. Like Derek Jones Jr. was amazing tonight. 4 triples, 20 points, 5 boards, 3 dimes, a steal. Harden's been weird, man. Super inefficient. He took an elbow to the face, was on the ground for a little bit, got up, moved on. And, we covered Powell. Coffee, 4 assists, 3 boards, a steal, 3 triples. Like, this Clippers team is fun. And I don't know where Terrence Mann falls into all that, but he looks kind of like the odd man out to me.
Dude, I'm so done. I've been done with Terrence Mann for a while. He never has a big stat line, Doc. He had the 39-point game against the Utah Jazz in Game 6 of their second round series as the Clippers went to the West Finals for the first time in franchise history. What else has he done, dude? Who is excited about Trey Mann other than Lawrence Frank, Steve Ballmer, and Tyronn Lue? Who?
No one.
I like it. I like the short and sweet answer right there. No one.
Let's go to the OKC side.
What are you seeing out there, dude?
Who's going to fill in for Chet? I don't think anybody. It's going to be like 5 guys.
They're just going to go smaller. Like tonight, Wiggins started, had a mess stat line.
Isaiah Joe.
Yeah, well, I'm an Isaiah Joe fan. I like that dude's game. He had 3 steals, 1 block, 2 threes tonight. I'm just a fan. He's got a wetter. I like Isaiah Joe. I was disappointed tonight, Doc, to see only 9 minutes from Ousmane Dieng. I like Ousmane Dieng. And you know why I like Ousmane Dieng?
Because you need him. You need him.
I got him in 30 deep. I'm not starting him this week. I just started him last week with Zach LaVine out. I started Ousmane Dieng, okay? Doc, I'm telling you and the people, I have done the scouting on this. I am telling you right now, Ousmane Dieng is ready to contribute in the 3-ball category, the shot blocking category, and the stealing category. If Ousmane Dieng played 24 minutes a game, half the game, he's double digits in points, he's at least 5 boards, he's 3 dimes, and he's 1-1-1. Andre Lamouche's favorite stat, the 1-1-1 guys. Okay, the 1-3, 1 steal, 1 block. I promise he would be a 1-1-1 guy. I love Ousmane Dieng.
You know who used to be a 1-1-1 guy? Alex Caruso.
Yes, he did. Nice.
Dude, why can't he, why is he not sort of a focal piece of what they're doing? Maybe they don't need him. I mean, hell, they're 9-2, and he hasn't even popped his head up out of the hole in the ground yet to see if we're gonna have spring or winter. Where is Alex Caruso?
Dude, like I said, what's he got to do to get into the starting lineup, man? What's our boy got to do? Aaron Wiggins started over him tonight. I figured it would shut out. Oh, for sure, Caruso will enter the starting 5 right now. He did not. Okay, and he played 22. He had a good game tonight. But that is a huge mystery to this fantasy basketball season. And we were not super high on Alex Caruso at all. Okay, last year he was real solid. Probably 10, 4 and 4, 1, 1 and 1 with the. Actually, it was 2 threes and then 1 and 1 with the defense. But Doc, let's go Kings and Spurs. I'm rocking the Wemby jersey tonight. Okay, because I love Wemby and it's a dope jersey. And Wemby had a game. These are the games that we thought Wemby was going to have with more regularity. 34 points, 14 rebounds. I'm just getting started. 6 assists, 3 blocks, 1 steal, 6 threes. That's what we're talking about, okay? 10 fantasy gold digits for you all. And one more point I want to make, Doc, as I send it over to you, and you take it anywhere you want to go on this really kind of lumpy game. Stefan Castle.
That's what I was going to say.
Looks real comfy in that starting 5 right now. Real comfy tonight. I'll let you give him the stat line, but it was goodies. He touched every line in the box score. And I'm starting to get, and he's had some really good games. He's getting walk-off interviews on the Spurs broadcast. He was highly drafted 4th overall. And I kind of think he's looking sticky in that starting 5 right now, Doc.
Dude, the fact that Devin Vassell is there, that, if Castle was there by himself, I would be over the moon. And either way, Castle has to be picked up in fantasy leagues right now. He had 10 points, 4 boards, 6 assists, steal, block, 2 threes, 31 minutes. And like you said, man, you watch the guys play and they pass the eye test. Stefan Castle is killing the eye test. It's like a perfect SAT score, right? He just looks so good out there. So does Vassell. Both of them. I don't know, man. I think 2 years from now, Stefan Castle is going to be like a second round, 3rd round fantasy pick. And also, I'd like to personally, with my little high, ridiculous, squeaky voice, apologize to Victor Wembanyama and all his fans. He technically should have been a Magic man, but sometimes you can't always go chalk. Sometimes you got to go under the chalk. That's why I went with Norman Powell. But my God, Wemby's stat line is the thing that's going to make him illegal in fantasy next year.
It's creating all of these, I'll be honest, Doc, in the Sports Ethos League, I had the 1st overall pick, and we did, where you go 1 to 12, and then they flip it for the 3rd round, and I ain't into all that. I think that's overthinking it, man. I really do, and I know you guys set it up the way you're setting it up. I feel like that's Wemby shaming. Okay, like you get the ace, you get Wemby, and then you get penalized because I'm not into it, man. I'm not into it. You go serpentine, you go bloop 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 all the way through the draft, and otherwise I think we're overthinking it, but that's just me. I mean I could complain. So Doc, just one last thing here. We talk every time we're on here, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night, usually at midnight. Tonight's games were early. We're on at 10:30 Eastern time. About our, and we go through it throughout the games, but then we sort of encapsulate it with our must-add player of the night. To me, it's by far Stephon Castle. And Doc, before, like, as I was doing my lineups and making my rounds earlier today, get my lineup set for tonight, I picked up Stephon Castle in a lot of leagues like this afternoon. Okay, and it wasn't a great stat line, but like we said, it was a solid stat line. Okay, so now he backed up that confidence with another good stat line. Looks even stickier in that starting five. Because Vassell may re-enter the starting five, but it may be over Champagnie. It may be over Harrison Barnes. Okay. I just don't think it's going to be Stephon Castle. And we'll track it. And if it is, we'll say, oops, sorry, we were wrong about that. But to me, he's the must-add player of the night. How about you?
Well, let's see. He's 16% rostered in Yahoo.
Wow.
16. That means he's sitting out there. So maybe at some point during the show, maybe right now, like, who are the pickups of the night? Stephon Castle, I think Amen Thompson, Tari Eason, Brandon Boston, to me, still a pickup. Alvarado. Anybody
yeah,
missing out?
In terms of I don't know. Maybe we reiterate that. I'm kind of in a content vacuum right now because, like, we've talked about these guys. We've alerted the fantasy world to it, but maybe you keep doing it show after show after show. I think that's fine too because people are coming in and out on this. But we have been telling you about these guys and everything that Doc just said right there. I co-sign, except Amen Thompson, because I don't believe that Fred VanVleet missing tonight's game is an injury. I think it was a rest game. So if it's an injury, I'm with Doc. That Amen is. I mean, look, if VanVleet's out 2 to 4 weeks, pounce on Amen Thompson. Okay, I don't think that's the case here. I think Fred VanVleet's going to play in the next game for Houston, so I'm not looking at Amen Thompson off the waiver wire right now. But all the other guys you mentioned, I am. And Yves Missi had a nice little dub with some defensive stats. Maybe you take a peek at him as well. As we take a peek, Doc, at the Tuesday schedule, there's a lot of games, and the NBA Cup is here. These are NBA Cup games. You're going to have the floors, and you're going to have the extra added excitement. I'm an NBA Cup guy. I think it's super, super cool that the NBA has these heightened games. And Doc, I want to make a point here, and this is probably maybe for betting purposes. I believe that teams are going to be looking to put the smackdown on other teams tomorrow. And so let's start with this game. There's some bigger storylines, but since I'm on this line of thought, let's start with Atlanta at Boston. Okay. Trae Young isn't going to play in this game with right Achilles tendonitis. The point spread on this game is 15.5 for Boston. 15.5. Ridiculous point spread. All right. Tatum is questionable with a left ankle sprain. Al Horford is questionable for this game. We know Porzingis won't play. Jaylen Brown, of course, is now back. Vegas is telling us that Boston is going to throttle Atlanta no matter what. And here's why they're going to do that, Doc. Okay? Point differential is gigantic in the NBA Cup. You want to be one of the top 8 teams. 22 go home, all right, after the initial round here, and then 8 move on and play for the NBA Cup. So there's a tremendous amount of competition to be one of those 8 teams. And it's going to come down group to group to group to group, this team, or this team, and this team to point differential, because there's going to be teams with the same record, and then they're going to go to point differential. And last year, Doc, there were a lot of teams that were belly aching at the end of the NBA Cup that they didn't really understand the rules and how important the point differential was. And I'm like, you freaking dummies are a part of $1 billion organization and you don't even know the rules of engagement? What is that? But that was a reality. Guys are getting to know it and the functionality of it. The functionality of it is you need to tomahawk these guys by 40 points if you can. You remember that game, Doc, where Boston billowed the scoreboard against Chicago and everybody was all salty? This is unsportsmanlike. No, it's not. They had to beat them by that much to make the damn next round, okay? So now the word's out, Doc, and I think this year there are going to be teams from the start of the NBA Cup going in for the kill. And so, yeah, you're looking at 15.5. Wow. How do I touch that? You touch it because Boston is going to be literally trying to decapitate the Hawks to get the point differential up to ensure that they move on to the next round. Watch for this, people. There are going to be some very one-sided games in the NBA Cup because point differential is so important.
I'm not going to put my mortgage on Boston minus 15.5. I'm probably not going to touch that. But you're right. Last year, like you said, teams are like, we didn't know. We didn't understand. And, I mean, it's a thing. And there's money on the line. There's a trophy on the line. There's a banner hanging up in Los Angeles, which I think is hilarious.
Which I'm fine with. All right, you win the NBA Cup, hang a banner. I know a lot of people are like, you don't hang a banner if you're the Lakers for the NBA. Well, where are you at with that?
No banner.
But buzzkill.
No Trae Young. You know what I'm excited about for that game is Dyson Daniels.
Oh, yeah.
Has like 6, 7, and 5 or something ridiculous steals in every one of his last games. He steals the crap out of the ball, and he's also doing everything else. Tomorrow, he's running the point. Like, Dyson Daniels is a phenom, a fantasy phenom right now.
He's the guy that I wrote down. I think Zachary Sachet is going to get a little boost with Trae Young out as well. All right, so let's shoot back to the top here, Doc. NBA Cup going on tomorrow. Joel Embiid is going to make his season debut. Joel Embiid. Wait a minute. You guys remember Joel Embiid, right? Tall, from Cameroon. He played with USA in the Olympics. Could have played for Cameroon or France. You remember him, right? Trust the process.
He was the guy.
MVP. You remember him, right? Joel Embiid. Tell me you remember Joel Embiid.
He was the guy running in quicksand during the Olympics. Is that right? Is that who you're talking about?
Yes, that's the guy. Yes, that is the guy. No, that's the guy. Anyway, he's coming back tomorrow. And all kidding aside, I'm excited about this. He's off the 3-game suspension for bum rushing the reporter. And he's healthy now. And so we get Joel Embiid back. Our league is officially better. The question is, Doc, let's go to reality for a minute, okay? Philadelphia is 2-7. Is this too deep of a hole for them to recover from?
No, they play 82. This is early. They're fine. They're not where they want to be. They didn't have Paul George to start. They haven't had Embiid. You talk about somebody who's going to try to take somebody's head off tomorrow. Joel Embiid is going to try to make Karl Anthony Towns regret his decision to go to New York.
They have a history.
He's going to be out for blood.
They have a history. There's no doubt about that. I agree with you, Doc. I want to go to the Eastern Conference standings right here because I've never seen the Eastern Conference standings like this in my entire life. You have Cleveland at 12-0. Okay, let's start there. I've never seen that before because it's never happened before. Boston 9-2. All right, Chalky, we get that. Okay, Indiana's at 5-5. That's
Every other team
is under 500.
Every one of them.
I've never seen this before. It'll correct, but this is so zany right now. 2 teams over 500 in the entire Eastern Conference, and 12 teams are under 500 in the Eastern Conference. That's insanity.
And
Insanity.
you may have to scroll when you go to the standings page. It'll pop up, and you probably won't see the Milwaukee Bucks initially. You just have to scroll down a little bit to find it.
Yeah, you do. Down there with Philly. Philly is 2-7. Milwaukee is 2-8. Milwaukee's in 14th place. Philly is in 12th place. But think about this. Philadelphia is 2 games out of 4th place. Okay. They are not in too deep of a hole. And I wouldn't even be saying this if they were like, if the East was regular and you had some really good teams and it kind of like gradually tapered out as opposed to this nuttiness. I would still be saying they're not in too deep of a hole. They're 5 games under 500. They've got Embiid back. Maxey will eventually return, and they're. I mean, again, I don't think they're winning a championship or going deep in the playoffs, but they are not in. They're not done. All right, Doc. Let's move on to. We're talking about Tuesday night slate here. The Emirates NBA Cup is on and popping. I'm excited about it. I like it. I like all this inventive stuff the NBA is doing. I think it's cool. We have Klay Thompson's first return to San Francisco, Doc. There's a lot going on tomorrow night, okay? Like we talked about Embiid and Trae Young being out. Klay Thompson makes his first return to the Bay Area. It is going to be a love fest. There's going to be tears. They've got a cool like
captain's hat.
Yeah. They got a cool like captain thing, like with the boat. Clay's a big boater, and so they got a whole thing planned for that. Golden State does to welcome him back in a very, very classy way. All right, so all that's going to go on the pomp and circumstance and the awe of the reunion, and you know I'm a big Klay Thompson guy, so I think that's cool. But Doc, let me make this point. Last night, Golden State, I almost jinxed it on Twitter. They were up 30 in the third quarter, and I tweeted out something smart about, this proves that it's all real and all that kind of stuff. Boom. From that tweet on, OKC went on like a 25-0 run. I'm embellishing. But they got it down to 6. Steph Curry then said, yeah, this is fun. This is fun. Whap, 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 whap. Night celebration, and we're moving on with an 8-2 record. Same exact record as the Thunder. Before, of course, the Thunder won again tonight to now back over first place in the West. Golden State's 8-2. Okay. And for them to go into OKC last night, Doc, and throttle the Thunder on their court and then like exhale and then have to win the game again, making it even really that much more impressive. It just validates what they're doing. It validates the depth, how Steve Kerr is using the depth. And we don't like it in fantasy over here. Podziemski sucks. Kuminga is Curry, like, Doc, name me Buddy Hield. It's Steph Curry and Buddy Hield, and then
Kuminga.
But I mean, are you excited? Are you excited about Kuminga's 14 points, 5 rebounds, and very little else? I mean, it's not a great stat line.
I'm okay with it. Podziemski is sort of like Alex Caruso. Like, where is this guy?
Good point.
Like, when is it coming? Because I think it's coming, but man, it's been pretty rough.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm starting to. Last week I said I'm hanging in there with Poj, Doc. I'm no longer on what you just said. On the it's coming. Like his time is going to come. I don't know. Doc, they got too many guys. D'Anthony Melton is back, and they play GP2, and they play Kyle Anderson, and they play Moody, and they play all these guys.
They play everybody.
I'm just saying, like I'm no longer on the Podziemski thing. I'm not. I needed to give it another week. And I mean, last night, completely awful stat line. What did he have? 1 point, 1 board or something like that. It was like a G leaguer was called up. It was that guy. This is Podziemski.
Well, the good news.
I thought Podziemski was in with Steve Kerr, man. I really did. I thought they were homies. I thought they were boys, and I was wrong, dude.
I don't know, man. I'm going to give it 2 more weeks before I totally move on. If you do not have the NBA League Pass, good news. You get the Mavericks at the Warriors on TNT, Luka versus Steph, Klay versus everybody. 2.5 point spread, Golden State's favorite. Like, that's going to be a great, fun game to watch.
I will take Ironically, I'm going to take Dallas plus the points. And I'm going to tell you why, Doc. I'm so glad you brought that up. Ironically, Golden State is due for a correction. Reason number one. Reason number two. Pardon me. Doc, this comes from all the ball players that I've had the pleasure to hang with over the years. They tell me all the time, when you go on a long road trip and that first home game back, that's a trap game because the honey-do list is long. You come back, you're with your wife, you're with your kids, you're back at your house, you exhale a little bit, and then you got to ramp it back up. And a lot of times they haven't ramped it back up for that first home game back. Dallas comes in at 5-5, okay? They're going to be highly motivated. That's a sucky record for a team that was in the finals last year. You've got Klay Thompson all jazzed out by his first return home. That's probably going to lead to a big game for Klay. Luka and Kyrie Irving couldn't miss a shot the other night. It was sublime what he was doing. I got Dallas tomorrow night. Maybe somewhat ironically with that. I will take the 2.5. I'm like 4-1 on these random ATS deliveries I give you. And so let's see if I can stay hot with that. Doc, let's start answering some questions unless you got anything else to say to the people.
The only thing I want to add is the Yves Missi. We kind of glossed over that. Zion is gone for 4 to 6 weeks. Missi is going to play. Now, he couldn't miss a shot tonight for New Orleans, and he put up a nice little line. He's not going to do it every night. But if you need a big man, I think Missi could go on a nice little run for the next month here. And also, I've got Al Horford and I've got Andre Drummond in 30 deep. And I had to pick one of them to play. I think Horford is going to miss one of these back-to-back games, therefore only play 2 games this week. Drummond hopefully will play in all 3, but he'll have to deal with the return of Joel Embiid. That's all I got.
Just quickly here, Missi or Batadze. If you need a center off waivers, who you plucking?
It's pretty close. I think I'm going Batadze just because I know him.
I believe Batadze is just a little bit better pickup than Yves Missi as well. All right, let's start answering some questions from our great audience here. Thank you for staying up late with us. Parker Finley, is that a pro golfer? I believe that. Isn't Parker Finley a pro golfer? Help me out, Andre. Can you guys look at it? Parker Finley, are you a pro golfer? Are you that guy staying up late talking fantasy basketball on Fantasy NBA Today, Sports Ethos After Dark? Rick Kamla, Steve Alexander. He says, hey, Rick, not from England, but Northern Ontario, Canada. Would you guys rather hold Edie or grab either Jabari Smith or Bub Carrington, 9-cat head-to-head for rest of season value? I mean, it's Bub, man. It's Bub. Dude, Jabari Smith, he's almost waiver wireable right now. Do you agree with that? Like, I keep looking at these stat lines, and I'm like, dude, he's stuck in mud right now. Doc, is Tari Eason a better fantasy player than Jabari Smith right now?
I'd have to look at the numbers, but at the top of my head, I would say yes.
It's close, and it should not be close.
I know Tari Eason's like 4th or 5th round. Like, he's balling. And I'm not even looking at Jabari Smith in this question. Question is, how bad do I need a center in Zach Edey? If I'm good at center and don't need Zach Edey, I'm dropping him to go get Bud.
Doc, I was looking at Basketball Monster for their rankings, and I had to come back on because I had to unmute my thing. I couldn't even find Jabari Smith, okay? Believe it or not, Tari Eason. And Basketball Monster is a little weird because they have all these metrics that really take the full stat line out farther than we even need to go. Like, think about it. Peyton Pritchard has more fantasy value on Basketball Monster than Cade Cunningham. Nobody would rather have Peyton Pritchard in the lineup than Cade Cunningham. And right now, Tari Eason has more fantasy value on Basketball Monster than Alpi Şengün. And so in that way, it's like, what? What are you doing here? Anyway,
Rick,
it does.
You would have had to go down to round 16
Ew.
182 to find Jabari Smith.
Whoa. 182?
Yep. 11 points, 1 3, 7 boards, 0.7 assists, 0.4 steals, 0.5 blocks with 39% field goals.
Ew.
Yeah.
Cam Whitmore out of the G League might be putting up better numbers than that for the Houston Rockets. So Parker Finlay, there you go. We are on a Bub Carrington thing. We have been for a while. Go get him. All right, let's talk to Joe Juice right here. He says, I just dropped Brown and Alvarado for Melton and Murphy. Good? No. I do not like that. I would not have done that, Joe Juice. Thank you for staying up late with us. You know, we're straight shooters over here. We're trying to help you out. I'm not being mean, okay? Christian Brown, Doc, tell him. He's passing the eye test when you watch Nuggets games. The stat line's pretty damn good. Alvarado, to me, is just going to be a stud until CJ McCollum and or DeJounte Murray come back. And it's going to be, you know, more of an absence here. And DeAnthony Melton's caught up in that melting pot out in Golden State. And I do like Troy Murphy, but I would not have done that. I'd rather have Brown and Alvarado.
I like Melton and I like Trey Murphy, but I love Christian Brown. And Christian, like we were like, who's going to fill the hole left by KCP in Denver? Brown is not only filling it, like he's building like a little monument on top of it. Like he's really good. And they're totally sold on Christian Brown. And then Alvarado, terrible tonight. I mean, it looks like a win after tonight. But I think Alvarado is going to be fine until CJ or DeJounte gets back.
Hobby7, Doc, says, if I'm punting points and threes, stop right there. How are you going to win your league, Hobby7, if you punt points and threes? Okay, again, like I'm not trying to be condescending here. I mean, I'm trying to hook you up. We really, really appreciate you watching. Hobby7, I'm trying to help you out. First of all, you should punt no categories, okay? Don't give your opponent anything, okay? That should be your mindset, all right? You're trying to build a balanced team. If it's a points league, it's a points league. You're just trying to get the most points. But if it's category league, okay, you got to take some bigs. Round 7, 8, 9, take Lopez, take Kessler, take Clint Capella, okay? Early on, you're taking guards to do all the stuff that we need them to do, okay? You got to build a balanced team. Don't punt blocks. Don't punt rebounds. And for the love of God, don't punt points in threes. Doc, again, Hobby7, love you, man. And he asked, should I pick up Ben Simmons because he's punting points in threes? 9-cat head-to-head 12 team. I just put out a tweet yesterday. I updated my dead to me in fantasy list. And Doc, you know that Ben Simmons has been on that list for about 3 years, okay? So Hobby7, I'm trying to help you out right here. Do not, I repeat, do not punt points in threes.
It might be too late. He may have built his team that way. Hobby, I'm going to be nice, a little more friendly about this. If you're punting points and threes, why not pick up Ben Simmons? He doesn't hit threes. He doesn't score points. He had 6 points, 5 boards, 12 dimes tonight. But if you do that, you know he's only going to play every other game until he shuts it down for the rest of the season right around Christmas time. That'll be a little Christmas gift from Ben Simmons to you. But yeah, I mean, if you want to pick up Ben Simmons and you're punting those categories, do it.
Hobby7, you got Andre Lamouche is putting in the communication here. Hobby7, hang in there with us. Hobby7, let us know how your team is doing because I want to take a personal interest in your team right here. You are punting points and threes. Like for me, that's a cardinal sin. Like to me, you are literally like kind of waving the white flag. Prove me wrong. Okay. Cam, it's working. I'm blankety blank. I'm third in my league, and I've got it all set up where I'm so good in all these other categories. Hobby 7, I'm taking personal interest in your team. I want to see how your team goes punting points and threes because this is a radical experiment.
I do not punt intentionally going into a draft, but if I get to round 7 and I look at my team and I'm like, none of these bleeps on my team can shoot a free throw, then I'm just like, F it, I'm not worried about free throws ever again in this league. Yes, I'm punting. I don't care.
Yeah, that's different though, dude. I let the percentages come and go with the win. Okay, I've talked about this a lot. I never ever draft for percentages. I draft for PRA and I draft for fantasy gold. PRA is points, rebounds, and assists. Fantasy gold is threes, blocks, and steals. That's where I draft, and I let the percentages vet themselves. And I play in turnover leagues. I don't like it. Doc, literally, I lose the turnover category every single week.
Okay? Me too.
Because I've got a better team usually that's playing more minutes and taking more shots, more usage rate because I've got studs. Okay. So every week I lose turnovers. She's like, damn, why didn't you like playing with turnovers? Because I lose the category every single week. That's why I don't like playing turnovers.
Dude, I cannot wait for this next question.
All right, so Harden13 says, if I could trade away Kobe White for Lowry Markkanen, 8-cat roto, I like the 8-cat. I don't like the roto, but that's okay. I assume I kind of have to. If I could trade away Kobe